Hello, crafting friends. I'm Doreen DeCebus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to Funful Friday. I am very excited that you're able to join me tonight on the live, and sorry that my fingers were in the way. And I'm so happy that you're here either for the live, the replay, or of course on my YouTube channel. So sitting in front of me is the 2025 to 2026 Stamping Up catalog that goes live on Tuesday. So something you want to, I just want you to make sure you're aware of this. Also, I want to make you aware of, in honor of National Scrapbooking Day, Stamping Up is doing double rewards today and tomorrow on any order that you place. Just remember, if you haven't placed an order since this program has started, you do have to opt in to receive the rewards off of any order that's $20 or more. Hi Roz, hi Lynn, thank you for joining tonight. So I am excited to be able to show you some things from the new catalog as we get going. All right, so tonight we are going to, I'm going to need my silicone sheets, so I want to put this here. We are going to be working with one stamp set and then two sets of dies that I just want to show you about. So first, this is one of the new sets that will be going, will be online on Tuesday, May 6th. It's called Blooming Phrases, and I'm going to be using the hello there for tonight's card. I am using the linked together dies tonight. I'm going to be using this die and all of the floral images. You can see I did a whole bunch of die cutting so that I'd have enough to design the card today. So we'll be using those dies in tonight's card. And then finally, we're going to be using the everyday arches. And I am going to be using, so you kind of have to count in with me, I'm going to be using the 3rd die in, the 5th die in, and the 7th die in. And I'm going to be using the 3rd die in as we put the card together. So let me just get that one out. Every other die but that one's coming up. There we go. So I'll just put this aside, but I will need this die. And we're going to be using the Wildflower Birthday Specialty Designer Series paper. Oh my goodness, I love the color palette of this Designer Series paper. So let me just get everything out that I need, and I'll show you the card. I will tell you that this is a heavy die cutting card. So I did a lot of the die cutting earlier. Oops. Let me I just put the paper over there and knocked the whole pile over. Sorry about that. As I said, this is a die cut rich card. So let me get all the dies that I cut out. I use the colors from the paper, so I'm using basic white, seafoam, soft seafoam. I'm using Pretty in Pink, Pool Party, and then I'm using this really nice Designer Series paper. So we got that all out. So what you need for paper to make this card, and I'll show you the card in just a minute, you're going to need a piece of 12 by 12, well, it's 2.5 by 12 inch paper, and we're going to score this at 4 and 8 inches. You're also going to need a piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4. And I picked two patterns that really coordinate with each other. These are probably my two favorite, well, I have like 3 favorite pieces of this, this Designer Series paper, and those are 2 of them. You're going to need, I cut these from 3 by 4 inch pieces of paper, so you're going to need 2 different patterns. So I picked the soft seafoam pattern to cut 3 arches out. This is the medium one, so it's not the 3rd, it's the 5th. And I cut 2 out of the pretty, in the pool party with the gold. Then you are going to need at least a half a sheet. I actually cut my half sheet into, I think it was 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, and I cut 5 of these of the smallest that I'm using, and that would be die number 7 when you count from the 10. And then I need a piece of 8 1/2 by 5 1/2 piece of thick basic white, and I'm going to be scoring that at 4 1/4. So before I start scoring, I want to show you this really cool card that we're making tonight. I learned how to make this, let's see, it's called a Peekaboo Fold Out Panel Fun Fold card. Try to say that 5 times or 3 times really quickly. I learned how to make this from a fellow demonstrator named Verna Mullen, and I will be putting a link to her original post in the comments. I use the same color palette, but my card is very different in lots of ways. But let's see, so when you open this up and you pull on this end, it comes out, I just want to make sure you can see the whole thing, as this really cool panel card. And when you fold this over, you get the back side as well. So I have decorated both sides. She did as well. I made this panel a little differently. She folded it differently, but I liked it this way, so that's why I did it this way. So very cool. It's easy to do, and you get a really cool response, a really cool outcome from it. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to start with getting my score tool out so we can do some scoring. Here we go. So I'm going to start with my piece of 2 1/2 by 12 inch designer series paper, and I'm going to be scoring this, as I said, at 4 and at 8. Easy peasy. The scoring tonight is super simple. The folding is super simple. The whole card is really super simple. And then I'm going to be scoring my main cardstock at 4 1/4. And that's it for scoring. Okay, so now let's do the first part of the card. So I am going to fold this and use my bone folder to give it a really nice crease. And then I'm going to be putting this piece of paper, because we're going to do some die cutting right away. I'm going to put this piece of paper onto the front of the card. I am going to use more adhesive. It's probably better if I use the liquid glue, but I don't like the liquid glue as much. But I want this to stick not only to the front of the card, but I want it to stick when I cut out that arch. I want the paper to be able to stick to that as well. So as I said, I'm just going to be putting on some extra adhesive on the back so that it will stick together. Okay, let me just put that aside for a minute and make sure I've got the card opened right. And this is going to go right on the front of my card. There we go. I agree with you, Joyce. I love the pastels as well. So now I'm going to get out my stamp and emboss machine. I need to use the larger one because I'm putting through the card front. And what I'm going to do, so let me just move this so I can show you how I'm putting this on. Pulled it out just a second too soon. So I am going to take this largest arch. It is the one that measures, that was number 3 when I counted down. And I'm going to place this on the front of my card, and I really want it to be centered. And so I am going to tape it down. This isn't permanent tape. Some people use Post-it notes or the Post-it note tape. I used to use that, but I find the Post-it note tape really leaves a little bit of residue. So I didn't really like that, so I've gone to this this not permanent, kind of like, it's not masking tape, but it's very similar to masking tape. So what I'm going to do is put my panels on, and I'm going to open the card like this so that I can put this through the embossing machine. And I'll put the top of my sandwich in. You can't see the whole machine in the view, the camera view, but you can see it coming out. So, all right, let's get this out of the way. And then I'm just going to take this off. There we go. And I'm going to take it off of what we cut for our die. There we go. And let me just set that aside so I don't lose it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to have to do, since I just put it through the machine, I'm going to burnish that edge again. And I am going to be gluing this down right here in the center of the card because I want this on the back panel. And I am going to use liquid glue for this because the liquid glue will give me a little bit of movement if I don't have it perfectly straightened. So I'm just going to put some glue on the back. And I'm going to set it right in this opening. Hold it down for a minute. And there you go. We've got that nice and centered. It closes and shows that. So perfect. Now, when I cut this, when I fold this, I am going to fold it first inward. I'm going to be gluing this piece down, and this piece will be able to open. So I'm going to use my bone folder, give it a nice crease, and then this piece is going to come back. So I'm just making a nice little Z-fold. I'm going to make sure all the edges are even so that I'm able to open it like this. When I watched the video the other day, she put this middle piece down. So she still had it like this, but she glued it so that this would fold like that instead of folding the way that I'm showing. So, whoops, let me get that just like that. Okay, and so we're going to want to just center this over the arch and center this on both sides of the cardstock. So I am going to, again, use liquid glue because it will give me a little wiggle room. You don't have to use a lot when you're using liquid glue. A little will go a long way. And I'm just going to center that on so it looks like it's in the middle. That looks really good. And we'll just let that dry a little bit. Okay, there we go. We can set this aside for just a moment. All right, so as I was coming up with a design, I really like this lattice that comes from the linked together stamp set. So what I did is I put some of the adhesive sheets on the back of the white paper and I ran this through the die. And then I'm just going to use my Take-A-Pick tool to lift up the backing to the adhesive sheet. And then I'm going to use this here so that the adhesive doesn't get all over my glass mat. I'm going to take this and I want the lattice to be on my arch. So I'm going to just line it up evenly the best I can. There we go. Press that down. And then I'm going to turn it over and I'm just going to trim the rest of the arch away. So it will just look like the arch is on, the lattice is on the arch. So you're just like cutting these little pieces of the lattice. And when you get to the top of the arch, you do have to cut it so it's going around that curved edge. I just want to make sure that I don't end up cutting part of the arch as I'm cutting this off. There we go. And then we have this beautiful arch with a lattice front. Isn't that pretty? I really like that. So I'm just going to throw that piece away. And now we'll start getting everything put together in the card, and then we can start decorating, which will be the fun part. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to set aside those 5, and I'm going to open this up so I can see all 3 of these pieces. I'm going to start with this piece right here, and I'm going to just put it right in the center of the inside arch. And I can do this with this one. I don't have to worry about any wiggle room, so I'm just going to use my Stamp and Seal adhesive. Now I want to put the next one right over it, and I want it to match. So I am just going to close this over, and I am going to make sure when I put this down that it's going to match it evenly. I know it's going to go from the 3rd band of gold to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost to the 7th. So when I turn this over, I can add some glue, because again, I'm going to want some wiggle room on this. So I'm just going to add the glue to that part, and I am going to make sure that I am lining it up, and I can move it as I need to so that it's even. And I'm just going to press down to adhere that glue. I'm going to turn it over and make sure I don't see any glue on the outside. So now what I need to do, I'm going to now put one on the back, because This one, I have the back. I can use this to line it up. But this middle strip, I don't have anything on it yet to line it up. So I'm going to take one of my soft sea foam, and it's going to line up on the back. This is one of the back ones I'm going to decorate right over that tag as well. And so I'm going to grab my glue bottle and again, just put some glue right there in the middle. And I'm going to line up these two arches because I want all of the arches to match. Sort of like I did in a card I did a couple of weeks ago that I used the arch dies. Okay, so now I have that there. So I can take this one and I am going to put it over this middle arch. And because I don't have to worry about, I can put glue on this whole piece. I still want that wiggle room, so that's why I'm using the glue so that I can line it up and move it a little bit. But I'm going to add the glue to the whole piece. Okay, so now this side, the front side is all done. Now we just need to finish the back side. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line this up with the one I put on the front. I'm going to use glue so I have a little bit of wiggle room. I'm going to line this up. They're exactly the same size. We're cut from the same die, so they line up beautifully. And now I have all of my panels done. That will close like that, and that's what it's looking like so far. Pretty cool, huh? I really like this card. All right, so now what I'm going to do, this particular arch is going to go on the front. So I am going to just layer this right on. So it looks like that. This is going to be fun to decorate. I can tell you that. Now what I'm going to do is just put all of the other arches on, layered right, the smaller ones layered right onto the big ones. So I'll open this up. Done with the glue for right now. We will need it in a little bit. And we're just going to layer this on every arch. That's why we needed 5 of them. I could have done this arch plain, but I really liked the thought of this being kind of a lattice shape. Okay, now we're ready to just decorate the card. So let's start with the front. I cut out some greenery. So I cut these out in the soft sea foam. I cut out, I'm using two smalls, 2 large in the soft sea foam. And then I'm going to use another small in the white. I'm going to use 2 pretty and pink flowers, 2 pool parties flowers, and 2 basic white flowers. And, whoops, It's actually going to be 3 pool party flowers. And then in pool party ink, on a really tiny scrap of paper, I already stamped the hello there. So I have that ready to go. Okay, let's start with the front. Now, the one thing I meant to do that I didn't do, I was going to put these all on adhesive sheets, and I just started cutting. And so we're just going to attach them with a little bit of the liquid glue. Again, you don't need a lot, but you want to hold it down. So this piece is just going to go right here on the side. I'm just going to hold it down, give it a second to adhere, and we're good to go. I'm going to put this right around the 3rd bar. So right there, I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive. And that's going to be our sentiment. And when you use liquid glue, you do have that little wiggle room. Now I'm going to be adding some flowers. So I'm going to start with a pink one. I'm going to use a white one. And I'm going to use a pool party one. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue around them. Now, I'm not using dimensionals tonight, which I normally do. This card is pretty thick, and I don't want to add more thickness to it. So I'm not using any dimensionals. So there goes the first flower. Then we'll add a pool party flower. And then we're going to add a basic white flower. I want to make sure all the centers of the flowers are showing, because I have these really cool gems. They're called low profile dots. And they're flat, but they come in gold and in petal pink, and pretty in pink. Maybe it's more petal pink, I'm not sure. But these you can send right through the mail, and they're not going to cause a problem. So to match the gold on the paper that's behind them, I am going to put a gold piece of bling in each center of the flower. And let me hold this up closer to the camera so you can see it. So pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to open this up so I can do my other pieces. So if I go way to the inside, I'm going to use another larger piece of greenery. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And we're going to add this to the back one. Hold that down for a second. And for this one, we're going to take our larger pool party flower. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue in the center, at the bottom center of the petals. Hold that for a minute. There we go. And I'm going to take my other white flower, add a little bit of glue, and I'm going to off-center this right onto the flower. And add another gold dot. And this is what this arch looks like. I wanted to leave room in case someone wanted to, like if I was writing a message to someone, obviously on the first panel, I wouldn't write a message, but I might, where I've decorated these other arches, there's a little room to write something. But this card, if I was going to write a lot, I would either include a letter or I would write on the back of the card. And that's one of the reasons I use the thick basic white. Okay, so I'm putting a shorter floral piece on this middle one, and I'm going to add, I think I'm missing a flower. Yep, just have to go in my bag. And I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive. And on this one, I'm going to put a pink dot over the pink flower. And that's what the middle panel looks like. So I'm going to flip that over. I have two more to do. Let me start with these two. And let me grab in here another flower. There we go. So this time I'm going to do a piece of white stems. I love the white on white like I did on the front with the lattice. So that's going to go on this piece here. We'll put the white down, and I'm going to put the pool party flower on top of this one. And I'm going to put a pink dot on that. I love these low profile dots. They just really make a difference when you can decorate all parts of your card and it's not going to add a tremendous amount of thickness to it. So our last little piece of greenery. And we'll add that to the last arch, our 5th arch. Just stuck it to my shirt. And just press that down. And I'm going to be putting this white flower on top of that. And I'm going to add a piece of pink bling on it. Okay, so to finish up, so I know this one is standing tall, the front of it. I'll show you the other one. Oops, let me get it folded the right way. This one is not standing as tall. I did go back. I know some people don't like it when the card stands like that. I do have to go back in. Now you can see it's a little bit different. I want to add just a little bit more of the bling. So I'm going to take 2 of the golds, a large and a small, and put them up here at the top. And there's our card, all done. Isn't this beautiful? So when you open it up, you can pull out those panels. You can fold them over and see the other side. So you have a totally finished card. You can have the panel sit in this little area. You can pull the panel through the front and have it like that. So there's lots of options here. What do you think? Thank you, Angela. I agree. I think it's beautiful. I love it. And when you put this piece out, it kind of closes the card a little more, as you can see. That is our Fun Fold Friday for tonight. So thank you so much for joining me. I will be back Sunday night. I've already got the whole month of May planned. I've already made all the cards. I'm so excited. I am using the Impressions of Bloom stamp set. And I had a such a fun time making all 12 cards for the month of May. So I will be back Sunday night. Remember, at 6 o'clock instead of 7 because of that group call. I have at 7 now. And I'll be back next Friday night for another edition of Fun Fold Friday at 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining me and watching and supporting my small business. Remember, double the points this weekend. New catalog goes live on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Good night.